Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Brittany, your friendly plant-loving internet stranger, back with another video. Today I'm going to be restaking my Monstera Deliciosa. I desperately need to restake it. I did purchase a 6 feet tall trellis. So I'm excited to deconstruct this Monstera because it is really like wound up in this moss pole and get it growing on this trellis to give it a little bit more order. I recently picked up this trellis at Home Depot and it looks sturdy enough to hold this plant up. It's a very heavy plant, and I know that it's gonna fall all over the place once I take these moss poles out, so I wanted to make sure I had something that was sturdy enough to hold its weight and something that was sturdy enough to continue to support the plant as it grows. In the jungle, Monsteras grow pretty wild and they grow up things, so the trellis is gonna help it mimic its natural habitat a bit better than the moss poles would, because it'll have more surface area to grow upward and more space for the aerial roots to attach to the trellis. This plant is in pretty good condition. I did go about a month and a half, maybe close to 2 months without watering it thoroughly, like, you know, where I'm like putting it in the bathtub and letting water just run through it. Last week I did water it. It was really in desperate need of a good water and shower. I also fertilized it, so it's in much better condition now. I wanted to make sure I had it watered and dried out before I actually put the new trellis in it, because I knew that would weigh the plant down even more so than it already is. I'm in the room with the forgotten plant shelf because this is where this plant lives. I might be moving it at some point, I don't really know. But for now, this is where the plant will stay, and this is where I am going to restake it. Because this plant is so big, it's really difficult for me to maneuver up and down the stairs. So I'm just gonna leave it here, restake it here, and then it's also really close to the bathroom too, so I can put it there when I need to water it. Because the trellis is also weatherproof, it should hold up pretty well when I put it in the shower and actually let the shower water run on top of the leaves to clean them off, or when I'm watering it. I really didn't want to get anything that was gonna be too high maintenance or make it difficult for me to water this plant. So I don't have a wide angle lens, so this is like the best I can do right now as far as showing you the entire plant. The pot is down here. I'll see if I can like kind of show you that. Oops. So this is its pot, and this is the plant. The plant is up pretty high. I actually don't know how tall this plant is now. I would need to measure it, but I'll keep this here for now. You can kind of see most of the plant. There are still some leaves that are going to be out of sight, but I mean, we're just going to make it work for now. But first I am going to remove the moss poles. You can see the moss poles here, and this is a shorter one, and then there's another one that's like all up in there, two on top of each other. I got these from Amazon. They were relatively inexpensive, but they worked pretty well. I originally repotted this plant last year at some point when I added these moss poles. The video is on my channel. I'll link it to this video somewhere on the screen, so you can check that out if you want to, just to see what the plant looked like when I initially staked it. But this is where it is right now. It's pretty tall and it's very bushy and kind of all over the place. So I really want to get this supported a bit better so that it can continue to grow and so that it just looks a bit neater. This is what the moss poles are looking like. Or maybe these are not moss poles. These are like cocoa core poles, but whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And the aerial roots are kind of like really wrapped up in there. So there's one that goes, I don't even know how far this aerial root goes down in here, but I'm gonna have to like gently take that out. And they have not started to go into this little hole yet, but I'm sure if they could figure out how to get there, they would. I used this plant Velcro, which came in really handy, and it's pretty strong because this plant has not, it's got a little bit of a, you know, a lot of my plants have a gangsterline or whatever, but it's nothing unbearable. Like the plant hasn't tipped over at all. So I'm going to remove all of this Velcro. I'm going to get this aerial root from out the center of this pole, hopefully without breaking it. This pole is supposed to be attached to something, but I don't even see, I would have said it was like connected into there some kind of a way. It comes with like these little, they look like little wooden stakes that go inside of these holes, and then you can like kind of stack these on top of each other, but maybe that was in there at some point. I just don't know why this random third one is just like floating in the air. but it's all tied up with the other one. So I'm going to disassemble this and then come back and let you know what's going to happen next. But look at these, like, look at these aerial roots. This is pretty cool, actually. It's giving Tarzan vibes with these, you know. This one feels a little crunchy. I don't want to break it. So yeah, I'm excited to get this on the trellis and then allow the aerial roots to just kind of like climb up the trellis. That'll be cool to look at. Okay, so here is the brand Vigoro 72-inch fan trellis. It's rust resistant, weather resistant, black powder coated steel construction. So yeah, this should be perfect. I don't plan to put this plant outside at all, but this should work well for what I need it for. And honestly, I've had this for a little while. It's been propped up against the wall in my kitchen, and I've been putting my kitchen towels on it. So time to actually put it to good use. Okay, so I tried to get this propped up against the wall as best as I could without obstructing your view. And I'm gonna just start removing this tape. The reason I wanted to push it up against the wall is because I'm nervous that some of the stuff is just gonna like collapse once I start removing this Velcro. And that's what I meant, not tape. Once I start removing this Velcro and removing the aerial roots from, you know, being wrapped around everything, I think the plant is just gonna like fall over. So yeah, I'm gonna get all of this Velcro off right now. Okay, so I got all of the Velcro off and the plant is leaning pretty heavily. So I'm gonna flip it around a little so that it's pushed even more up against the wall. Oh, I'm also realizing I had all types of reinforcements. So I also wrapped this like twine. This is not twine, what is this called? Jute rope. I wrapped this like little piece of jute around here because the plant was just so heavy, so I need to cut that off too. But I'm gonna start removing the stakes and then I'm gonna get that aerial root out that I showed you. So this is what the stake looked like. It has this little, like literally wooden stake, and you just kind of like put them in there to build it out to your desired height. Dang, this one had like a root or something growing out of it. It's crazy, kind of creepy. Okay, so the last piece that I'm really focused on is this aerial root that's inside of this little circle in the middle here. Let me zoom you in. And I don't want to hurt this plant. I think there's more jute that I need to cut down here to loosen this up. Okay, so I can pull this top piece off, but I just heard something snap and I don't want to shock this plant too much. I already bit one of the stems. And I don't want to snap any of the leaves or snap any of the stems. Oh, she's in there. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, this is like in there. Uh-oh. That's weird because I don't even know what it's attached to. Because like this end, this doesn't come off. This little stake, but this aerial root is like in there. Oh, great. I just broke it. Dang, that was such a big piece. Wow. Okay, so I broke this whole piece off. And you know what? It's fine. this plant would have just continued to grow. So yeah, that's the mother plant right there. And then this is the child that I just broke away from its mother. So my bad. I'm gonna finish removing the moss pole. For the sake of this video, this is a moss pole, even though I know this is coco coir, but I've been saying it and using them interchangeably. So let's just call it what it's not. This is this plant, all disassembled, partially broken, and yeah, that yellow leaf looks really, really nasty, but the stem is still green. I like to leave my leaves on the plant until the plant has like sucked all of the nutrients out of it, so I'm not going to bother that one. This pot looks so much smaller than it actually is. Let me not accidentally hit the ceiling fan with this or the smoke detector. Okay, so I'm going to maneuver this as best as possible, like so. Okay, I have it up against the back of the plant. So like this is the part that will go up against the wall. That should be okay. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is just start putting these leaves up in this trellis and getting it kind of threaded through all of the different segments in the trellis so that it's standing up straight and it's supported. I'm gonna try to do this without breaking any more of this plant. I'm also like threading some of the aerial roots through these little slots in the trellis to encourage it to like latch on once it gets used to this being its new support system. Oops. My hope is to train this plant so that all of the leaves point forward, like where I'm like in front of the plant, like where I am facing right now or where I am standing. So to do that, there are like two main sections. I'm going to put this first stem, like attach it to this side, and then attach the second stem over here, or vine or whatever we're calling this. And then just kind of flip the leaves to point in my direction. And hopefully it will just, that would like train it to start to grow that way. I'm going to use all these pieces of Velcro, and I am going to use them to reattach the plant, or to attach this plant to this new trellis. Give it some support. And then eventually it should be okay and start just growing up this thing on its own, hopefully. I'm really trying to just tie these stems up without restricting the aerial roots at all, because I want those to just kind of like wind themselves up around this thing, and I want them to be able to move freely, but I want the plant to have some stability right now. Okay, so some of the leaves are a little wobbly. This right here is like bent, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not going to bother it. If it breaks off, it breaks off. It won't be because like I broke it off. Okay, so I got the aerial root that was stuck in the pole out, and this is what it looks like. This is the part, like the plant that I broke off, the piece that I broke off from the big mother plant, but it feels so weird. It's like soft and velvety feeling, and it just looks super creepy. But it was like wound up in at the bottom. This won't really focus, but you can kind of see it just like wound up. Quite strange. Anyway, I'm gonna use this broken piece and I guess propagate it or give it away or something. Probably propagate it so I can have 2 gigantic monsteras. But this is what the plant is looking like on its new trellis. Still looking a little scraggly, but it looks a lot better. My goal is to continue to position the plant so that the leaves are facing forward. I got most of them facing forward right now, but this is how I want it to grow. So as it continues to like grow up and out, the leaves will just face forward. Obviously a lot fuller on this side, but that's okay. As I continue to train this plant, it'll start to look a lot more uniform. But again, the vines, the aerial roots are just kind of all over the place. And I really want them to get their lives together and find some order amongst themselves, start to secure themselves to this trellis. I don't know how long that will take, but yeah, I want them to do what they would do if they were living in the wild. Here is the finished product. Y'all, I broke a lot of that plant off. I'm just not realizing it. I can really tell when I look at like how full this side is. This is the piece that I broke off. It's pretty massive. So like this would have all been like kind of like here. But I mean, as you can tell, it's still a pretty substantial plant even without this broken off piece. So this is gonna be a nice size plant. Like I said, eventually the goal is to have all the leaves pointing in the same direction, which is like to the front. I think that would just make the plant look really nice. It does look a little out of control. It's given rainforest right now, scraggly rainforest, but that's all right. We just staked it up. I'll check in. Maybe I'll do an update video in a couple of months to see how it's like acclimating to its new setup. I do want to get something to put on the top of these because I don't like, not that anybody is going to be up here with their face all in this part stabbing their eyeballs out, but it just is giving hazard with these just open sharp edges. So maybe I'll get like some little styrofoam balls or something and paint them black and stick them up there or do something. But I don't like that this is just all exposed. I almost wish there was like a little cover across it. So yeah, I'll probably do something like that. And then again, just kind of get this one planted up. Maybe this will be a video in the next couple of weeks or something while I figure out what I'm going to do with this piece. All right, so that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this Monstera restaking. Feel free to leave me a comment if you have any Monsteras, or if you just want to leave a comment on the video, also fine. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more plant content, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.